how fear related to the human development. One of the earliest feelings that people experience is fear. It functions instinctively and is programmed into the nervous system. We have the survival instinct to react in fear when we perceive danger or feel insecure from the time we are infants. Fear helps protect us. Fear is a primal, strong, and common human emotions. It involves a general biological reactions, as well as a strong individual emotional reaction. According to psychological study, fear serves as a warning sign for danger or potential harm, whether it be physical or psychological. Can fear be learned or acquired? Fear can be acquired directly from a threat, but it can also be acquired socially through observation of others or vocal warnings. According to Phelps' research, fears that are expressed in response to social learning have brain components in common with fears that are learned through personal experience. Also, fear can be innate or developed, and we know that we all experience fear. It's a natural and biological condition. Fear is a complex human emotion that can be helpful and healthy, but it can also have a negative impacts. It's important that we experience fear because it keeps us safe.
Is there any possibility to be detached from fear? Emotional detachment refers to being disconnected or disengaged from the feelings of other people. This can involve in an ability or unwillingness to get involved in the emotional lives of other people. While this detachment may protect people from stress, hurt, and anxiety, it can also interfere with a person's psychological, social, and emotional well-being. Emotional detachment can sometimes occur as coping mechanism when people are faced with stressful or difficult situations. In their cases, it can be a symptom of mental health condition. Boundaries can help you maintain a healthy distance from people who demand much of your emotional attention. But emotional detachment can also be harmful when you can't control it. You may feel numbed or muted. This is known as emotional blunting. Does fear change our behavior? A person may experience a change in their demeanor after experiencing a traumatic or witnessing an unpleasant event. These behavioral changes may be caused by a mental health condition, such as anxiety. Anxiety occurs when a person feels nervous or uneasy about a situation. Fear is normal. Our fear centers drive us and they save us. Your body's fear response starts in a region of the brain called amygdala. Several natural physiological changes take place that help us prepare to be more efficient in a dangerous situation. Our breathing accelerates and our heart rate and our blood pressure rise. While this is normal human response, it can feel like your amygdala is in overdrive. Indeed, fear and uncertainty are strong emotions and natural response to things that we don't understand that threaten our safety.
Number 5. How does responses and stimuli associated with fear? The experience of fear involves a complex interplay of physiological, cognitive, and environmental factors. In social cognitive theory, fear can be seen as a learned response to a certain stimuli. According to this theory, individuals develop fear through a process of observation and imitation of other responses to fear for stimuli, as well as through direct experience of fear and the associated negative consequence. In the video link, the speaker discussed the neuroscience of fear and how amygdala, a part of the brain involved in emotional processing, play a key role in fear response. When the amygdala perceives a threat, it sends signals to other parts of the brain that activate the fight or flight response. The speaker also discusses how fear can be extinguished through exposure therapy, which involves gradually exposing individuals to the feared stimulus in a controlled and safe environment. Number 6. How does fear affect us psychologically? Fear can have a significant psychological impact on individual, including changes in behavior and cognition. In the video, the speaker discusses how fear can interfere with the daily functioning and how exposure therapy can help individuals overcome their fears. According to behaviorism, fear is a learned response to a certain stimuli, and it can be shaped and modified through conditioning. In the case of phobias, for example, individual may develop an intense fear to a specific object or situation. John B. Watson, a behaviorist, famously demonstrated the role of conditioning in the development of fear in his Little Albert experiment, in which he conditioned a young child to fear previously neutral stimulus or a white rat through appearing it with a loud starting noise. In terms of psychological impact of fear, it can lead to a range of emotional and cognitive responses, including anxiety, stress, rumination. Fear can also affect behavior, leading to avoidance, aggression, or other coping
Infants first come to recognize and differentiate a fearful face from other emotional expressions. We know from many studies that perceived threat detection, influence the allocation of selective attention resources by modulating the ability to rapidly detect and respond to potentially threatening stimuli. For instance, exposure to an immediate emotional stimulus within the environment, such as fearful facial expression, can facilitate heightened attention capture. Fearful faces, in particular, elicit increased activity in the amygdala, communicating to the individual the presence of potentially threatening stimuli and affecting attentional resources. We know that an attunement to threat cueing facial expressions begins developing by 7 months in infants. By this age, some infants are able to differentiate between emotional expressions and begin attending more negative emotions. Behaviorism theory explains the learning process of fear and how does this learned fear influence their subsequent behavior. The behaviorist explanation suggests that phobias and other behaviors are learned through classical and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning is learning through association with involuntary reflex responses. The psychology of learning exerted a strong influence. It was thought that most behaviors and mental processes were acquired through experience. Thus, phobias and fears of specific animals and places were believed to be acquired through learning. A particular animal, on one occasion, an individual becomes afraid of that animal through classical conditioning. According to the learning theory, fear can ramp up nervous system activity in some potentially unhealthy ways. It's also closely associated with mood disorders such as anxiety, depression, and may in some cases reinforce or give some rise to these mental health conditions.
How do we come to understand ourselves and relationship with others? Is our social learning experience different from the way we learn about the physical world? In order to understand ourselves, it involves asking questions that focuses on our behaviors and attitudes, such as what causes me to be optimistic or pessimistic, what provides me stress, or alternatively a sense of calm, or what am I thankful for today. It is important to focus on our strengths and challenges. Give ourselves the opportunity to explore things that provides us a sense of happiness, gratitude, and joy. And in order to understand our relationship with others, we need to listen or pay attention to nonverbal cues such as facial expression, body languages, or punctuation used in written communication, and check on our friends and families to see how they're doing. How can social learning and observational learning contribute to the development of phobias and fear? Humans can acquire fear through observation of others, learning models, threat responses. These responses can be direct response to aversive stimuli or anticipatory responses to threats. Phobia is developed by linking two stimuli that goes through classical conditioning and is maintained through the process of operant conditioning. Classical conditioning results in acquiring phobia. However, it is not sustained through observational learning. And what are some effective interventions for addressing these issues from a social cognitive perspective? Exposure therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy are the most effective treatments. Exposure therapy focuses on changing your response to the object or situations that you fear.